Hi, my name is Fernando Melo, and this is my data science capstone project about the socio-economic impact of generative AI in developing countries, power concentration, digital exclusion, and inequalities. The topics of this presentation includes a brief introduction to the key ethical issues surrounding generative AI, then present a four-dimensional impact analysis, and conclude with some final remarks. Let's start by understanding why generative AI demands our urgent attention. Unlike predictive AI, which analyzes existing data and outputs a label or a value, generative AI creates new content, text, audio, and video. This brings new ethical issues. It can create fake content that looks real, use a lot of our personal data, raise questions about intellectual property, and significantly impact jobs in poor and developing countries. Since it affects multiple sectors like schools and hospitals, we need to think carefully about how to use it responsibly. When ChatGPT was released, it got the record of 1 million users in just 5 days, and has grown fast since then. For the first time in history, millions of people have direct access to such an advanced AI model and use it every day. Just a few powerful tech companies control AI development through high costs and closed systems, creating barriers that exclude vulnerable regions and concentrate power in developed nations. This digital divide threatens to deepen existing global inequalities in access to AI technology and its benefits. On the other hand, generative AI also offers promising opportunities for inclusive growth. It can provide personalized learning experiences, helping to bridge gaps between different educational systems. Startups can leverage these tools for innovation and business growth. This technology can transform conventional jobs and create new opportunities in many sectors. The objective of my analysis is to address two central questions. How does generative AI reinforce or mitigate existing socioeconomic inequalities? And what political and institutional mechanisms can ensure its benefits are widely shared? My work concentrates on four interconnected dimensions: power concentration, digital exclusion, inclusive opportunities, and governance recommendations. I'll be discussing them in more detail in the following slides. The first dimension is power concentration and market distortion. The generative AI industry is mostly run by big companies like Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI. These giants control important resources like computer power and data, making it tough for smaller companies to compete. Training top AI models costs a huge amount of money, which adds to the problem. Their systems are also closed off, so it's hard to check for unfair biases or security risks. Companies like Microsoft and Google make it even harder to challenge them by building AI into their office software, which keeps users tied to their products instead of switching to others. AI's impact goes deeper than just business competition. Tools like Midjourney are transforming creative areas like art and design, resulting in intellectual property conflict. Individual artists often can't protect their work, while companies profit from their content without fairly paying creators. Poorer and developing countries lack the computers, data, knowledge, and systems needed to build AI, so they depend on the technology owned by wealthier nations, even for basics like healthcare and farming. This traps them in a cycle where global South economies remain consumers. They can only use AI tools that others make, never creating their own technology. To address these challenges, we need new approaches to AI governance. Traditional antitrust laws are not prepared to handle digital monopolies that leverage network effects and data control. Several solutions are proposed, requiring platforms to be interoperable, investing in public AI infrastructure, and supporting open source initiatives like Meta's Llama. Another interesting example of open source initiative came recently from China, where the startup DeepSeek showed how to train a reasoning model with a fraction of the usual cost and opened the source code and model weights with a MIT license. These initiatives help to prevent a winner-takes-all scenario and create a more balanced ecosystem. The objective is to enable innovation while ensuring AI's benefits are distributed more equitably across society. The digital exclusion and socioeconomic divides dimension. Infrastructure problems make generative AI hard to use in many places. In poorer nations, basic infrastructure like stable internet, modern computers, and reliable electricity are often missing. For example, in Africa, just 26% of the population have high-speed internet, which blocks AI from being used in key essential areas. Even in richer countries, cities have better equipment than rural areas. Poorer neighborhoods use old devices that can handle new AI programs. This creates a loop where areas without these tools keep falling behind in tech progress. The image on the right shows the percentage of the population without internet connection across the globe. North America and in Europe are well connected, with less than 20% of people offline. Parts of Asia and South Africa have more people offline, between 20 to 40%. Things get really worse in rural parts of Africa and Asia, where most people can't connect. 60 to 80% are offline. This shows how Africa and parts of Asia struggle the most to get online, while North America and Europe have the best access and opportunities. Besides the lack of infrastructure, tech skills and software cost are major limitations. An OECD study found that 6% of adults don't have basic AI knowledge. And this problem gets even worse in poor regions. Most schools don't teach AI, so many people never learn these skills. Software cost is another big issue. For example, a graphic designer in Nigeria might use a whole month's salary just to buy AI software. While free options exist, they are too complicated for most people without tech skills, making the exclusion even worse. There is a concerning trend in AI development that we may call technological colonialism. Western companies dominate data collection and model training, which means AI systems often reflect global north perspectives and values. This leads to practical problems. Imagine African farmers using AI agricultural apps developed in Silicon Valley that don't account for local conditions. This traps poorer countries in a cycle where they can only use AI tools made by others, instead of building their own. The real goal is to rebalance control, so AI does not become a tool that keeps reinforcing existing inequalities. The opportunities for inclusive growth and development dimension. AI is opening doors in many areas, especially in education and business. Tools like Camigo and Duolingo are changing the game by offering custom learning experiences in places with limited resources, from African villages to remote parts of India. For entrepreneurs, apps like Canvas Magic Design and Runway allow them to make polished graphics without special training. By making skills and tools more accessible, AI can help developing countries grow their economies and bypass old challenges that holds them back. AI is changing how people work and get healthcare. For job-related tasks, AI tools take over boring, repetitive activities that only computers deserve to do. Also, freelancers from developing countries use AI to find better work opportunities. In healthcare, AI brings doctors to remote areas through video calls and helps spot diseases faster, like checking symptoms, predicting outcomes, and sorting patients by urgency. It also speeds up finding new medicines. These challenges make healthcare more accessible, especially for communities that struggle to reach hospitals and clinics. The graphic on the right compares generative AI employment effect in high versus low-income countries. According to Gimirek, in high-income countries, AI could automate 5.5% of the jobs while augmenting 13.5%, whereas in low-income countries, only 0.4% of jobs face automation, while 10.4% could benefit from AI augmentation. The effects vary a lot depending on the country, and it is important to mention that infrastructure limitations in developing nations may prevent these potential changes. Fortunately, more countries are already taking steps to create smart rules and work in collaboration. Kenya built a special AI learning center, and India created a program to help its people use digital technology. Groups like Eleuter AI and Hugging Face share tools freely, which helps more people use powerful AI solutions. Finally, the last ethical analysis dimension is policy frameworks and strategic recommendations. To create AI that benefits everyone, we need three main policies. First, we need to update competition laws to require tech systems to work together and support open source software projects. Second, guarantee affordable high-speed internet for all and provide tech resources to communities that lack them. Third, teach AI basics in schools and offer retraining programs like Singapore's Skills Future to help workers adapt to job changes. The image on the right shows the stakeholders and the necessary actions to create ethical AI. Developers have to build AI systems responsibly by following clear ethical rules. Companies must train their teams to use AI fairly and explain clearly how they handle people's data. Experts in AI ethics have to study risks and push for better standards, shaping policies and guidelines. Governments, global groups, and nonprofits must write laws and set international rules to hold everyone accountable. And finally, users and the public need to learn how AI affects their lives and speak up about their concerns. Ethical AI requires clear rules to hold creators accountable. This includes required assessments for high-risk AI systems. For example, disclose where the training data comes from, explain how they reduce unfair biases, and report environmental costs. The AI laws from the European Union is a good example of how this can work. The general public should also help decide how AI is used in high-stakes areas. Additionally, AI development must protect cultural rights by allowing indigenous communities to control their data and ensure AI tools support, not erase, diverse languages and traditions. Global cooperation and long-term monitoring are key. Groups like the United Nations and the Global Partnership on AI must lead in creating rules for AI used across borders, similar to efforts like Africa's continent-wide AI plan. Independent watchdog groups with special tools to investigate AI systems should check if companies follow the rules and uncover hidden harms. Governments must fund studies to track how AI changes jobs, mental health, and climate impacts. Companies might use regulatory sandbox environments to experiment AI innovations safely and under supervision. In conclusion, generative AI has a dual nature. On the positive side, it could allow more people to create content easily and improve important fields like education and healthcare. However, there are considerable risks. If not managed carefully, it could lead to big companies or governments controlling too much power and creating a digital divide where access to AI tools depends on where you live or how much money you have. Therefore, to advance AI responsibly in developing countries, we need to address at least three main issues. 1. Job replacement. AI automation affects labor markets, especially in creative fields and gig workers. AI augmentation will require investment in tech education. 2. Cultural bias. Current systems mainly reflect Western perspectives and major languages, which could wipe out smaller cultures and idioms. 3. Environment impact is a huge concern, especially in areas already dealing with climate disasters. Time is running out. We are at a critical moment for an ethical generative AI. Our choices and actions now will decide if AI becomes a force for good, closing gaps in education, healthcare, and social-economic fairness, or if AI aggravates inequality by giving more power to a small group of tech elites and wealthy nations. To succeed, leaders must boldly shape AI rules and investments with fairness at their heart. We must build AI to help the whole world move forward together, now and in the future. I want to finish my presentation with a quote from Manuro. The transformative potential of generative AI can only be realized through collaborative efforts that prioritize ethical considerations, inclusivity, and sustainable development across global contexts. Thanks for taking the time to watch my presentation. My citations will be in the following slides.